Good evening. I'm Dagan McDowell.
I'm Lisa Booth, and welcome to The Bottom Line.
Breaking at this very moment, money, 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 money. I didn't sing it. It was Trump's TV theme song, and it's what he's promising for the American people as we near 100 days of the second Trump presidency.
We're going to make a lot of money for our people. We'll be able to lower taxes substantially, and we're going to be proud of ourselves. They're not going to be a laughing stock that got taken advantage of by virtually every country in the world. We're going to be able to substantially lower taxes when this is finished.
And that's the bread and butter of why Americans voted for him. More than half believed he was the man to fix the demolition derby of an economy Biden handed us 10 points more than Kamala.
Now, brand new Fox News polling shows that voters are wishy-washy with how things are going on that front. Nearly 60% do not approve of President Trump's performance on inflation, tariffs, the economy, and taxes.
But don't forget, the president warned it would be a rough but necessary road to recovery. Welcome to the transition period.
There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us.
Nonetheless, President Trump's overall approval rating is down 5 points from March, sitting at 44%.
But not to fret. Americans are more optimistic now by 9 points than they were during the end of Biden's terrible term. Plus, more voters say the economy was getting worse for their families under Biden's last month in office compared to now. But tariffs and uncertainty dominating the headlines. 54% think his policies are hurting the economy. That's nearly 30% higher than at this point during Trump's first term.
The biggest concerns for voters right now among Democrats, Republicans, and independents: inflation, health care, and government spending. But when you isolate those pesky Democrats and independents, their top concerns are recession, the trade war with China, and the stock market. With all that being said, nearly 100 days in, how does President Trump make Americans confident another economic miracle is percolating?
Joining us now, Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder and co-author of the Trump Economic Miracle, Steve Moore. Steve, I want to start with the basics. I just want to get to what is the state of the economy? I'm trying to figure out, do these concerns reflect reality or are they driven by media hysteria?
No, a little bit of both. I mean, look, this has been a brutal month for the stock market, as you guys know, although the last few days have been really very positive. It's great to see some green on the screen. But look, people have lost money. I've lost money. You guys have probably lost money in the stock market. But I find a couple of things quite annoying. One is that, look, and I'm not always in favor of the stuff that Trump is doing on trade. I'm much more of a free trader than he is. But I think at the end of the day, he will probably prevail here. But even if you don't believe that, look at all of the other things that he is doing on the economy. The cutting of taxes, giving Americans a huge tax cut. The pro-America energy policies that are going to, reduce gasoline prices and have more energy jobs here at home. How about DOGE saving $500 billion to $1 trillion in waste out of our government? How about, the fact that he secured the border for the first time in many, many years? All of these things are very positive for the economy. Nobody talks about that. All they're talking about is the tariffs. Now, if Trump is able to get these deals, and he's able to get the Trump tax cuts done by Memorial Day. And that's, when I've talked to the folks at the White House and the president, I say, get these, please, Mr. President, get it done by Memorial Day. I think you're going to see the biggest rally you ever saw on the stock market once those two things get done.
I want to get to this, Steve, and if the prompter can please scroll. Thank you. This is one of the questions in the Fox News poll that compared how investors feel versus how non-investors feel. And it was really astonishing. So it was non-investors are more concerned about inflation at 86% and are more concerned about a recession at 77%. Investors are less, still concerned. 81% are extremely or very concerned about inflation. 69% of investors are concerned about recession. And you've said that, please don't say Main Street versus Wall Street. It's all the same. We all participate in the stock market. However, looking at that, your average voter, a non-investor, is feeling and experiencing something that is even more disturbing than somebody in the market riding it day to day.
Well, first of all, I do hate that expression that some of my Republican friends use about Wall Street versus Main Street. It's almost like a Marxian concept. And the truth is, in America today, almost all Americans are invested in the stock market, either directly or through their 401k plans or the retirement plans. So we all rise and fall on the stock market. I think the stock market will rise again. I don't have any doubt about that. People are a little concerned about what's going to happen in the job market if these sell-offs continue. But look, I want to give you guys some faith here because I'm old enough to have lived through the Reagan years, and the first 12 to 18 months of the Reagan period was brutal because Reagan had to do what Trump had to do. He had to sweat the inflation out of the system from Jimmy Carter. And it took a good year, Dagan, to get that done. And once the inflation was gone, we had the biggest economic boom in American history. And what I'm saying to you is I think history is going to repeat itself. Once Trump gets these deals from these countries, and once we get the tax cut done, I think you're going to see a replay of that. And you're going to see a real renaissance in the American economy.
We had double-digit interest rates.
Well, and you also look at some of the hard data with inflation cooling to a 6-month low in March, and then also the economy adding 228,000 jobs.
Good point.
More than expected as well, right? So those numbers are good.
Yes.
Steve, I want to get your take on this as well. So let's get your reaction to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calling out the International Monetary Fund today for going woke.
The IMF and World Bank have enduring value, but mission creep has knocked these institutions off course. The IMF was once unwavering in its mission of promoting global monetary cooperation and financial stability. Now it devotes disproportionate time and resources to work on climate change, gender, and social issues. Here in the United States, we know we need to get our fiscal house in order. The last administration ran up the largest peacetime deficit in our nation's history. The current administration is committed to fixing this. We are open to critique, but we will not abide the IMF failing to critique the countries that most need it.
Stephen, of course, this comes as the IMF forecasted slower economic growth due to the tariffs. The White House says they have 18 proposals on paper. What would it mean for investors, for business owners, and just for the economy at large if some of those deals come to fruition?
Well, first of all, I think that Scott Bessent said it so well. I've been waiting for 40 years to somebody to say what these globalists said. Both the World Bank. The only thing I disagree with them a little bit about it is I don't think that those institutions, guys, are redeemable, and I think that we should just pull out of the IMF and World Bank. They do more harm than good. And he's right. At a time when we had economic turbulence, all they wanted to talk about was climate change and social issues like DEI. So good for him. I mean, Scott Bessent is turning into one of our greatest Treasury secretaries of all time, and he nails it. He says things that other people have been afraid to say for decades, but he's spot on right. Why do we even still give money to the IMF?
Right.
Really?
All these governments make craptastic decisions, picking winners and losers in business, and it's a misallocation of capital. It is economic fascism. They call it industrial policy or corporatism, but it's not just the ideas, it's the fact that they do a money grab and they deprive great ideas of money and allocate it to their pet projects, which are garbage. I digress. Steve, really quickly.
No.
So President...
Can I just say one thing about what you just said? I just want to correct you on one thing, Dagan. You said they pick winners and losers. No, they just pick losers. They don't pick winners.
Fine. I said they do a craptastic job at picking.
I like that word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
President Trump is said to be exploring options to reverse the declining birth rate. And one idea that's been floated that he's said to be considering is a $5,000 baby bonus for new moms. This is just one of the ideas. Anybody who's on the fence about having children who isn't inclined to do so, is $5,000 really money well spent?
I'm not really that much in favor of that policy. I know I could go either way on it, but look, I know you got a lot of young people listen and watch this show. Come on, have kids. It's fun. Make babies. Look, our declining birth rate is a big problem. It's happening all over the world. We need more babies in this country, and the best way to do it is for people to get married and start having children. I come up from a family with five. I have 4 brothers and sisters. There are 5 of us. When I was growing up, Dagan, we were considered a medium family with 5 kids. So we don't have to pay people to have kids. Let's just get our kids married and start having children. We got to be fruitful and multiply.
The bumper sticker, it's fun.
Exactly. And if you have children, make sure that they go out and work at a very young age, as my father did.
Exactly.
His foot was on my backside, pretty much, kicking me out of the house.
Look what you're doing now.
Yes.
Where it worked.
Steve, great to see you, sir. Thank you.
You too. Thanks, guys.